My story begins in 1997 in Denver, Colorado. Well, not really. I was born in Denver and raised on the East Coast, just outside of Philadelphia, then returned back to Denver to study. I am very proud of my story that I'm creating currently, but I'm also very aware of how my family got here. This story may seem long and convoluted, but that's because, well, it is. To explore how I got here, I need to jump around in history a little bit. I'm going to start off, going back as far as I know, with the paternal half of my family. I was fortunate enough to meet my paternal grandparents, my dad's parents, Bubby Annie and Zeta Max. Bubby and Zeta were Austrian and Polish immigrants respectively. Bubby's parents came to New York where she was born right after the turn of the 20th century. She is the first American-born relative I have. Max, on the other hand, arrived in New York City via Ellis Island in 1913, just before World War I, when he was just 10. Their families were looked down on in Poland and Austria in their time for being Jewish. It was no mystery to my ancestors what would happen to them if they stayed in Poland in the years to come. As they were forced to become involuntary immigrants, they independently chose to come to the States and found each other in New York City, in the Jewish neighborhood of all places, and started a family business, the bakery. To this day, all of my relatives remember Bubby and Zeta fondly. We remember their food, their traditions, their religion, and for the most part, we all stayed on the East Coast. My dad's mom's parents were Lithuanian and Russian and Ukrainian immigrants who left after the Russian Revolution. Isaac Sherman was a Yiddish scholar, rabbi by training, and socialist who met Freda Zorn, a Russian-Ukrainian nurse, at her hospital in Philadelphia. My grandparents, the first-generation Americans of my family, thrived through the family bakery and moved from Philadelphia to southern New Jersey to raise a family of their own. Although I wish my family could have avoided persecution without the shift in power throughout Europe, I would not be where I am today. My dad grew up in Princeton, New Jersey, and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, eventually going to school in Ohio, then moving out west to Colorado to build his career. On the other side of the continent, in the 1930s, my maternal side was very involved in what is today the United Kingdom. My grandfather, David Bianchi, although born in Canada in 1924, came from Ireland, Spain, and northern Italy. My grandmother, Mildred Whitehead, as purebred English as they come, her family was no royalty, but they weren't poor either. When she was just 3, her family went to Canada in 1924 in search of job opportunities, but returned in 1937, just in time for the Second World War, just as the push-pull theory explains. Millie was stuck in England for the duration of the war, but eventually immigrated back to Canada in 1946 with her family. She and Dave met and made a family in Canada. Then they moved south of the border so that my grandfather could work for General Motors until they retired and moved to Florida. My mom is the youngest of 3 siblings, all born in Canada, and the only one to have moved out of Michigan since. Her story includes becoming a naturalized citizen in 1987, many cities and jobs, until a work friend invited her to a wedding in Ohio where she met my dad, and, as they say, the rest is history. Together, my parents lived in Denver until I was 3, and we moved back east to be closer to my paternal grandparents and for a job opportunity for my dad. My story is one of 10 countries coming together throughout the diversity of America and also the destruction of the Second World War so that we could move freely, seek better opportunities, and practice our religion in peace.